You're traveling through the unknown, a journey beyond the corners of reality, where the shadows whisper and the chill runs deep. Welcome to the dimension where your deepest fears are given form. This is The Midnight Mystery.
Welcome to The Midnight Mystery. Today's episode is called I Carved the Ancient Halloween Pumpkin. In each episode, we delve into the shadowed corners of our existence, bringing you tales of the eerie, the uncanny, and the downright terrifying. From the realms of the supernatural to the depths of the human psyche, no stone is left unturned, no dark secret left hidden. As the clock once again draws near midnight, prepare to embark on another adventure into the uncanny, the eerie, the horrifying, the Midnight Mystery.
Growing up in a small, secluded village, Halloween was always shrouded in a mysterious and ominous aura. Stories echoed through the twisted trees and murky skies, but one ancient legend stood out among the rest, the legend of the cursed pumpkin. They said it wasn't like any ordinary pumpkin. It carried a dark magic that could grant the carver's darkest desires, but it would extract a sinister price. Every corner of the village whispered warnings, urging us to stay away, but curiosity is a powerful force. One gloomy evening, as the tales of the cursed pumpkin filled the dimly lit room, my friend Leo and I sat by the fireplace, consumed by the legend. "Do you think it's real?" Leo asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as though afraid the walls themselves might hear. "I don't know," I replied, feeling a shiver run down my spine. "But haven't you ever wondered what it would be like to carve it? To have your deepest wishes granted?" "Yeah," Leo admitted, his eyes reflecting the dancing flames. "But at what cost? They say it's sinister, that it takes something precious from the village." We sat in silence for a moment, letting the words and the warmth of the fire fill the space. The crackling wood seemed to speak of the darkness hidden within the legend. Curiosity brewed, mingling with the fear in the pit of our stomachs, forging a dangerous fascination. Days passed, and the tale nested in our minds, growing roots of intrigue. We found ourselves wandering the village, conversations filled with hushed tones and speculative whispers. "What if we just took a look?" I suggested one fateful night, "just to see if it's actually there." Leo paused, a conflict flickering in his eyes. "All right," he said finally, a mixture of excitement and apprehension in his voice. "But we should be careful." As Halloween's eerie embrace settled upon the village, our adventure began. The night was a symphony of howling winds and creaking branches, as if nature itself warned of the impending doom. We found ourselves standing before the pumpkin, its presence a dark magnet pulling us closer. It sat there, bathed in the ghostly moonlight, an ominous aura surrounding it. The pumpkin seemed to whisper secrets of power and fear, the shadows around it flickering with a life of their own. "What do you wish for?" Leo asked, his voice trembling. I don't know," I confessed, feeling the weight of the decision. "Something that doesn't harm anyone. What about you?" Leo took a deep breath, his eyes locked on the mysterious vegetable. "Freedom from fear," he muttered, almost to himself. A chilling silence followed, our wishes hanging in the cold night air, our souls teetering on the edge of a precipice. We looked at each other, a silent understanding passing between us. This was a path from which there might be no return, a game with stakes higher than we could ever have imagined. The legend had become a living nightmare, and we stood at its dark doorway, choices in our hands, fear and curiosity battling within. In the cold embrace of the gloom, the pumpkin appeared before Leo and me. It wasn't just an object but a presence, an entity shrouded in an ominous aura. It seemed to pulsate with an ethereal energy that whispered through the shadows. The moonlight seemed to avoid it, and the wind hushed as though afraid to disturb its dark slumber. "I don't know about this, man," Leo said, his voice quivering as he stared at the pumpkin. "It feels wrong." Despite his words, my hands felt drawn towards it, as if guided by an invisible force. "I just need to see," I mumbled, my mind a whirlpool of curiosity and foreboding. The knife in my hand felt strangely warm, and I approached the pumpkin, feeling its dark energy brush against my soul. As the blade touched its surface, a cold shiver traveled down my spine. The first cut released a sigh from the pumpkin, a sound so eerie it seemed to echo through the desolate night. "Did you hear that?" I asked Leo, my voice barely above a whisper. "Yeah," he replied, his eyes wide. "It's like it's alive." With each stroke, an unsettling feeling grew within us. as though we were meddling with the fabric of reality itself. The world around us seemed to blur at the edges, and an indescribable chill filled the air. "I think we should stop," Leo urged, gripping my arm. But the pumpkin had a hold on me, urging me to continue, to unveil the darkness it hid. "It's almost done," I whispered, feeling a strange compulsion to complete the carving. The final pieces fell away, and a monstrous transformation started to unveil itself. Shadows seemed to twist and dance around us, and the ground beneath felt as though it trembled with a foreboding presence. "We shouldn't have done this," Leo said, fear tightening his voice. "We need to leave now." But it was too late. We had awakened something ancient and terrible. The darkness seemed to thicken around us, whispering tales of despair and doom. The village, once a haven of warmth and light, now felt overshadowed by an unseen terror, waiting to unfold its gruesome tale. As the last piece fell away, a chilling silence consumed the village. Leo and I stood there, our hearts pounding like war drums in the cold night. Everything around us seemed to tremble, caught in the icy grip of an unseen terror. "Man, what have we done?" Leo murmured, his voice strained with a mixture of awe and terror. His eyes darted around, taking in the transformation that had begun to unfold around us. The world as we knew it started to contort and twist. Shadows crept from every corner, whispering the cries of anguished souls, painting our surroundings with strokes of nightmare. Buildings seemed to age and wither before our eyes, windows shattering under the weight of some unspeakable force. "I don't know, Leo," I said, my own voice barely recognizable. "But we need to fix this. We can't let it destroy our village." We walked through the streets, now a labyrinth of fear. Sounds filled the air, sounds that one would never wish to hear. Soft moans, the rustling of unseen entities, and the distant echo of despairing cries. "Look," Leo pointed towards the old oak tree at the village square. It seemed to be at the epicenter of this terror, its branches swaying and twisting as though in agony, casting grotesque shadows that seemed to claw at the very fabric of reality. The pumpkin's horrifying influence was becoming clear. It didn't just grant wishes. It played a merciless game, using the essence of life, the souls of our village, as pawns in its dreadful performance. "We have to stop it," I said firmly, clutching the knife that had carved the pumpkin. "There has to be a way to undo this." "But how?" Leo asked, his face pale, eyes wide with terror. "It's like it's feeding off the souls of the village, turning everything into a living nightmare." Our steps were heavy with dread as we approached the cursed pumpkin, which now seemed to pulsate with a vicious life of its own. We could feel the desperate cries of the village, the very air around us thick with the anguish of lost souls. "We have to try," I insisted as we stood before the epicenter of the unfolding apocalypse. "We unleashed this horror, and it's up to us to find a way back from the brink." The night seemed to stretch on, each moment a battle, as Leo and I fought against the tide of darkness we had unwittingly unleashed upon our village. We were caught in a brutal struggle, where the stakes were the very souls of our community, and the battlefield was the twisted reality forged by the cursed pumpkin. In the wake of the devastation, I stood there, the weight of reality crashing down on me. The once vibrant village now lay drowned in shadows, an unsettling silence hanging in the air. "Leo," I muttered, but my voice echoed through the desolation, finding no reply. The brutal truth unfurled itself slowly, creeping into my mind with relentless claws. The pumpkin had exacted its terrifying cost, weaving a tapestry of horror with the souls of the village. "This can't be real," I whispered, feeling the icy fingers of despair grip my heart. I stumbled through the streets, once filled with the warmth of community, now cold and haunted. Echoes of the lost souls surrounded me, their spectral presence a ghostly apocalypse that consumed every corner, every shadow. "Leo," I called again, hope withering with each step. "Where are you, man?" But there was no response, only the haunting whispers of the lost, weaving a symphony of sorrow. Loneliness walked beside me, a tormenting companion in this realm of despair. The village I once called home, the place of laughter and life, now languished in an endless night of horror. In a shuddered breath, reality's harsh face looked at me. I had sought to satisfy curiosity, to peel back the layers of legend, but in doing so, I had condemned us all. An existence of anguish and despair was the merciless harvest of the seeds I had sown. "I'm sorry," I whispered to the lingering spirits, feeling the depths of their sorrow. "I didn't know. I didn't understand the cost. The darkness seemed to listen, the shadows pulsating with the rhythm of unseen hearts. A cold wind blew through the village, carrying the sense of decay and the echoes of cries forever lost. In the heart of this gloom, I was left to wander alone, navigating the ruins of dreams and the remnants of hope. A cruel lesson was etched into the very essence of this place, that some boundaries are meant to remain uncrossed, some curiosities left unsatisfied. Haunted by the consequences of my actions, I moved through each moment, a prisoner of regret. The village, now a monument to sorrow, stood as a relentless reminder of the darkness that curiosity can unleash when it dances with the forbidden. Each day became an eternity, a relentless cycle of despair. The sun seemed forever hidden behind a thick veil of ominous clouds, and the nights were filled with unsettling whispers, the cold breath of the unseen haunting every shadow. Walking through the village, I could feel the spectral echoes of the past, the laughter and cries of children playing in the streets, the warm lights in the windows of every home. They all seemed like distant memories from another life. Is anyone there? I would often find myself calling out, hoping for a sign of life, a glimmer of warmth in this cold darkness. But my words would just dissolve into the icy wind, lost in the vast ocean of silence. In my solitude, I often visited the places that once held the essence of our village life. The old oak tree, where we used to carve our names, now stood lifeless and haunted, its branches like twisted arms reaching out in agony. "I didn't mean for this," I whispered one night, standing before the cursed pumpkin, which now seemed to mock me with its hollow eyes. "I just wanted to know, to understand." But there were no answers, only the cruel reflection of my own curiosity and the consequences it had brought upon us. The pumpkin remained silent, an eternal symbol of the terror unleashed by meddling with the unknown. One eerily quiet night, as I wandered through the shadowy paths, I thought I heard a familiar voice. "Leo," I called, my heart racing with a faint spark of hope. But it was just the wind, playing tricks, manipulating the echoes of the past to create illusions of comfort in my tortured mind. Every corner of the village now held a tormenting memory. Every building, every stone seemed stained with the essence of the lost souls. In seeking knowledge, in desiring to unveil the mysteries of the legend, I had brought this eternal nightmare upon us. The realization was a relentless tormentor, reminding me every moment of the cost of my actions. It was a brutal lesson in the power of legends and the terrifying realities they could conceal. So, here I was left, condemned to wander in a realm of shadows and echoes, where the past haunted the present, and the sounds of life were replaced by the silent screams of lost souls. In the embrace of this merciless darkness, I remained alone, a prisoner of my own curiosity, forever bound to the ghostly apocalypse that had consumed the village in all its warmth.
I hope you enjoyed our episode. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thanks to you, our brave listeners. Your presence in this shared journey into the unknown is what fuels our stories. Your fascination is our motivation. Did this episode send chills down your spine? Then leave your comments, your thoughts and theories, your own midnight mysteries. Your feedback is the beacon that guides us through the uncharted territories of our stories. And if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to our channel. By joining the Midnight Mystery family, you won't miss out on a single chilling tale. As a subscriber, you'll be the first to know when a new episode lurks around the corner, ready to pull you back into the shadowy depths of the unknown. This is the Midnight Mystery signing off, leaving you with a simple reminder. When the clock strikes 12, fear the silence, for that's when our tales come to life. Good night, Midnight listeners. And remember, not all who wander into the dark are lost.